Good Friday afternoon and welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for kicking off your almost start to the weekend with us here in downtown Providence. And as we do every Friday, kick off with former state representative, former Deputy Secretary of State, now heads up Stages of Freedom, Ray Rickman, to give his big view.
Talk about a very difficult subject today. Since 1980, I have been conducting sexual harassment prevention workshops. MIT, Harvard, Lifespan, and the list goes on and on and on. City of Providence, of course, Warwick, Pawtucket, you name it. Firefighters, police officers, janitors, everybody. It's very difficult because 30 years ago when I started this, most men, not all men, most men had a certain view that they were permitted to say things, touch people. They've been doing it for 100 plus years. So I would talk about space, people's personal space. Stay out of it. Be careful when you're in it. You'll get in trouble for doing something 2 feet away from a person. And if you were 4 feet, you'd get in less trouble or no trouble. And then I would talk to them about their language and how do you shake hands and who do you kiss on the cheek and who you don't. And I haven't done a workshop in a year, but before that I'd do 20, 30 a year. The last workshop I did was just fascinating. It was for a community college. I won't tell you which one. And some of the janitors were talking as if it were 1985. They just, I wasn't talking to her and I got in trouble. I'd say the Supreme Court in the sexual harassment case said, you're talking to everyone who can hear you. And it's your responsibility to know who can hear you. So if I'm talking to Joe Smith and he's 3 feet away, and there's a woman 6 feet away, I ought to know she can hear what I'm saying to him, and vice versa. Also, they say it's your responsibility. People don't have to say, don't talk about sex in front of me. You can see from their body language, from the way they're frowning, how they leave when you come in the room. You know they don't want you to do it, and you can't pretend. But the law requires you to get permission to talk about those things. Permission. Can I talk about? You have to ask. And generally, you don't ask because it'd be inappropriate to ask. If it's inappropriate to ask, it's inappropriate to do it. So now let's come to Joe Biden. I've met the Vice President of the United States twice. And the first time he gave me a nice handshake, one of those A-plus handshakes. I'm Joe Biden, I love people. The next time I told him he and I had met before, I wasn't disappointed that he didn't remember me. It was 6 months later. I told him I was a friend of Patrick Kennedy's and we'd met before. And he went, oh! And then he gave me the big hug and cheek-to-cheek kind of thing, kind of apology, affection, apology. It's Joe Biden. So I've watched Joe Biden off and on for 30 years, met him twice, been in a room with him 8, 9 times. And I've watched at least 3 women, if not 4, accuse him of inappropriateness. No one has gone so far as to accuse him of sexual harassment, thank goodness. But they've accused him of putting hands on shoulder, basically kissing a woman in the hair and the back of the head. I said to myself, yuck, who wants to do that? And that's Joe Biden. They create a new category, and that is you're here raising thousands of dollars for my campaign. I'm so thrilled you're here, but you did something I don't like. And I thought to myself, and it's the first time I've ever said this in public, because I think I always side with the woman, no matter what the accusation or no matter what the action. I always side with the woman. It's her body. But I'm not going to this time, because in all of these cases, Joe Biden was out being super friendly, raising money for these particular people, and it was all kind of approved. You be nice to me, I'll let you be Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden needs to have come to one of my workshops and learned that you don't do cheek to cheek until you are invited. And I hope he's listening to Nancy Pelosi. She said you should do that. I've watched her. You should do that. I do that. Arm's length. You don't hug the person until they invite you. But I think we should be nice to Joe Biden. He didn't know he was doing anything wrong because I think in almost all these cases it was an agreed upon, and it either got beyond where the woman wanted it to go, or they're telling on him at this point in order to hurt him. I don't know which one it is, but I feel sorry for him, and I wish they hadn't done it. Now, I'm kind of chicken to have this conversation with you because I've worked all my adult life to be a feminist. So please don't think I'm saying anything other than I feel sorry for Joe Biden, and this is a free lesson for all the men and a few women. Be careful who you touch and hug in any kind of way unless you are invited.